everyone, welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I'm Nazia Iqbal, and here's a look at the stories for the day. The King is back. That is how moviegoers have reacted to Pathaan, the spy thriller that marks the return of Shah Rukh Khan to the big screen after over 4 years. Released on the 25th of January, the film got off to a roaring start, reportedly recording advance sales higher than Disney's Brahmastra and on par with all-time hits Bahubali 2 and KGF Chapter 2. So what is behind this blockbuster opening? Bashwar Kumar answers this for you. Shah Rukh Khan and Bollywood are back. That's what reviews of Pathaan have to say. The film sees Khan play the role of an exiled, raw field agent who returns to duty in the face of a new threat. It also stars Deepika Padukone and John Abraham in leading roles. The controversy stirred up by Padukone sporting a saffron bikini in one of the film's songs, Besharam Rang, had done little to blunt the enthusiastic reception it has garnered so far. As a result, Bollywood can safely say that the rumors of its demise are indeed exaggerated. Rumors which spread last year when South Indian movies like RRR, KGF and Pushpa struck gold at the national level, while even the biggest Bollywood releases were met with a muted response. Pathaan was released on the 25th of January across 5,000 screens in India and abroad, and advance bookings touched 40 crore rupees a day before, despite the price of a single ticket hitting almost 2,500 rupees in some theatres in Delhi and Gurugram. The film would comfortably touch 50 crore rupees in opening day collections, considering the advance bookings and the first day's expected spot bookings. This was the projection of a popular multiplex chain's senior executive, who added that this would easily rank among the biggest openings for a Hindi film after the Hindi version of KGF Chapter 2, which had raked in nearly 54 crore rupees last year on day one. Such is the impact of Pathaan that 25 single-screen theatres, which had shut operations following the COVID-19 pandemic, were expected to lift their curtains once more with its release. According to Yash Raj Films, which has produced Pathaan, its release is the widest for the Indian film ever, going to over 100 countries. In fact, Pathaan's release covers nearly 2,500 screens in international markets. The film's appeal also appears to be pan-India. According to a Book My Show executive, Pathaan had crossed 1 million tickets in advance sales a day before its release, with the Hindi version leading the charts, followed by Telugu and Tamil. In fact, the executive said that South India had been particularly impressive, with Hyderabad, Chennai and Bangalore contributing nearly 30% to the advance sales. Ultimately, estimates suggest that Pathaan could cross 200 crore rupees in box office collections at the end of the first weekend, and a day one figure exceeding 40 crore rupees would be the highest opening for a Hindi film following the pandemic. So what's behind Pathaan's blockbuster opening?
One is, I think, the dependence of Hindi-based content on large budget films. If you look at this number on a pre-COVID basis, only 35% of your box office used to come from these large budget films. Now that number is somewhere close to 70 to 80%. So audience have become really selective in terms of what kind of films they want to go for, and they're actually going for these large budget films very frequently to watch. But small medium budget content continues to struggle. So that's one reason in terms of why the numbers look so high. Second reason, of course, is Siddharth Anand. In terms of the films that he had made in the past, there have been a lot of action-driven films, right? And action as a genre has really done well, because if you look at the regional success lately, I mean, films like RRR, KGF, which have broken records, those are all action genre films. And a third cherry on the ice cake would be, Shah Rukh Khan's return. So Shah Rukh Khan is coming back to the screen after 4 years. and he's got a very huge fan following. I think these three reasons have been more than compelling, for the big star that Pathaan has got today on box office.
Primarily, the reason for that is what we also saw last year with Brahmastra, that audiences are looking for experiences uh, as a reason to go to cinema. So a little large scale, spectacle led action films are opening well to audience response, whereas films which don't really offer a theatrical experience, so to say, a collective viewing experience which they can enjoy, are being skipped for their release on digital mediums or satellite mediums. So Pathaan, in that sense, offers the scale, the spectacle, the action, as well as the star cast quotient, and it is also part of the spy universe. Yashraj spy universe is now being built. It started with Ek Tha Tiger, then Tiger Zinda Hai. There was War, and now Pathaan would uh, feature some of the cast members of those films, and then they would collaborate further. So they are kind of building their cinematic universe through these characters. So there is an anticipation of seeing those cameos in Pathaan as well.
For the second time since 2015, Indian cinema's box office collections have soared past 10,000 crore rupees. After two flop years due to COVID, Southern movies led the rebound, dominating the top 10 list of highest grossing films. From Bollywood, only Brahmastra, Kashmir Files, and Bhool Bhulaiya 2 made the list. But Pathaan's success would break that trend and set the Hindi film industry up for a blockbuster 2023. After movies, let's shift our focus to the world of academia. The percentage of women applicants for JEE-Mains entrance examination hit a record of 30% this year. It may translate into more women in jobs in related fields in the future, but the representation of women in assemblies, in the parliament and in several other social spheres is still low. So will a jump in women enrollment in higher education change this skewed equation in the long run? Here's Tariq Ahmed's report.
Poor gender ratio at IITs and NITs has been a talking point in Indian academia for some time now. Women are significantly underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the so-called STEM majors. But the picture is changing. This year, 860,000 students applied for the JEE-Mains entrance examination, of whom 260,000 were female. That's a record 30%. According to the Ministry of Education, the number of female students at IITs increased from 8% in 2016 to 20% in 2021. Another important STEM education center in India, NITs, had 22.1% female student participation in 2021. The promising trend has been the outcome of recent policies implemented by the IITs and NITs, encouraging female participation in STEM education. In 2016, the government introduced a 14% supernumerary quota for girls at IITs. It was increased to 17% in 2018 and 20% in 2020. The All India Council for Technical Education has been giving out 10,000 Pragati scholarships annually to girls. This scholarship provides 50,000 rupees annually for up to 4 years. Joining the initiative, tech majors Microsoft and SAP India launched the skilling program Tech Saksham in 2021 to increase women's participation in the tech industry. Underserved women across the country are offered courses on artificial intelligence, cloud computing, web design, and digital marketing.
And I think what's really changed in the last few years is actually the outcome of a policy that was implemented by the IITs, I think starting 2018, where they have aggressively increased the number of seats specifically for women across all of their programs. And my understanding is that this has had a big role. And in as much as it's increased the number of women who've actually got seats in IITs, I'm sure it will also have spillover effects in terms of women getting into other top tier engineering colleges, non-IITs, and even second tier colleges and so on. More and more women, as you say yourself, are going to be, writing the JEE entrance exam and are going to be able to take up degrees in technology going forward, which is great to see.
As female students' enrollment in STEM majors has begun to grow, engineering colleges in India have come a long way since the 1990s, when the boy-girl ratio used to be 10:1. This ratio decreased to 7:1 in the early 2000s and further to 4:1 in the mid and late 2000s. Currently, the IITs have a 20% female student population and NITs 23%. This used to be less than 8% before the supernumerary quota. The representation of female students in architecture, electronics, engineering, and IT has grown significantly to almost 50% or even higher today. Unlike engineering, female students' enrollment in medical courses has been high. In 2022, 57% of the 1.8 million students who applied for NEET were female students.
I think every profession today we see that there's a fair amount of presence of women there. And I think it's good to see women coming forward. And as a matter of fact, because these women are there out who are helming these prime positions, whether they are the CEOs of the company or they're the head of the function, or even our president today is a woman, right? I think these women are inspiring or are kind of transforming the thought process of our society.
There have been efforts to bring more women to the fore in all walks of social life, including the three-tier governing system consisting of panchayats, state legislative assemblies, and parliament. Article 243D of the Constitution provides for not less than 1/3 female participation in panchayats. As many as 21 Indian states have gone ahead to make female participation 50% at the panchayat level. State legislative assemblies in India, though, have abysmal women participation. This is highest in the Chhattisgarh Assembly at just 14.44%. Meanwhile, female participation in parliament has been growing, even if it is considerably lower than what it should be. After the last general elections in 2019, women's representation in the Lok Sabha rose to 14.4%. And in the Rajya Sabha, the highest level it has ever reached is 12.24% in 2021. Though female participation in India's political and social space saw little improvements, it is catching up in enrollments for education.
And until women rise to more positions of value in some areas, that's not going to be reflected in the political sphere at all. So one can imagine in the very long term that if we have a private sector or a corporate sector where you have a lot of female leadership, that will also slowly trickle into the political sphere where women will just be more valued. They will be able to, take up political office and they will be able to rise to greater heights than they are able to do so now. So in a long-term sense, sure. But do I see this necessarily happening in the kind of the next 5 years or something like that? I don't really see it. Women's educational outcomes have been increasing, like I said, for the last 3 decades. And in fact, that's exactly the period that you've described where women's representation in parliament has actually gone down. So unfortunately, I don't think that those two are going to, respond to one another in the very short run.
The latest application rate of female students for the JEE-Mains shows the growing interest of female students in STEM majors. Social scientists see these trends as a welcome drift among women in India.
Frontline indices saw the biggest sell-off in a month on Wednesday as pre-budget nervousness gripped Dalal Street. Monthly F&O expiry added to this nervousness. So as we begin the new February series, how should investors position themselves ahead of the union budget? Here's your answer. Equity markets succumbed to intense selling pressure on Wednesday, led by losses in financial stocks and the monthly F&O expiry that weakened investor sentiment. The Sensex slumped 774 points, while the Nifty lost 226 points to dip below 17,900. In the derivatives segment, traders rolled over slightly fewer positions to the February series, indicating uncertainty ahead. As per the latest data from Nirmal Bang, the Nifty January futures saw a rollover of 51%, lower than the 3-month average of 58%, while market-wide rollover was at par at 73% versus the 3-month average. Analysts say the rollover data indicates that the market will continue to be range-bound going forward.
So if we look at the option chain, data for rollovers, let's say we look at the February series, monthly expiry, then also we will see that for Nifty, we have, downside hedged at around 17,000 levels, followed by 17,500. And the upside, we have aggressive additions till 19,000. So this is because, we have an important budget going ahead, and it's the start of a new series from the next trading session. So usually this is how the range plays. But on immediate basis, if we look at the data technically and also for as per, derivative data, 17,700 holds a very crucial support, very range bound at a sideways, and we have been range bound for the entire Jan series from 17,800 to 18,200. So the range has been playing very well for Nifty.
Even after breaching key daily moving averages on Wednesday, Nifty is still in the range as that of the last month, analysts say. In the short term, they recommend traders to go long given the market's positive expectations from the union budget.
So, and since we are already on the verge of all the supports, so I believe, going ahead for the next 10 days or so, maybe the coming week expiry, or 9th Feb expiry, we can go long here, we can play bull call spread. We can take, 18,000 call and sell 18,400 call. And we can also play the range, let's say 17,600 put we sell, and we also sell 18,500 call. The short strangle strategies. The trend is very much positive, in 3 sectors that are standing out as of now is metals, autos, and FMCG. FMCG, if you see, HUL is having very strong growth, and it is also making day highs as of now. So I'm expecting it to test 2,800, 2,850 with a stop loss of 2,500 zones. And auto is giving, after being beaten down quite a lot, it is now in some sort of a trend. So, Hero Moto, Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors, TVS Motors are all showing very, robust strength.
That said, equity markets will remain closed today on account of Republic Day. Markets regulator SEBI's 625 crore rupee disgorgement order against NSE was quashed last week by the Securities Appellate Tribunal. 2 former CEOs of the country's largest boards were also given relief by the tribunal, which set aside disgorgement of their 25% salary in the co-location scam. In today's Decoded segment, we explain what a disgorgement order is.
The term disgorgement means the repayment of illegal gains by wrongdoers. The funds received through unethical business transactions are to be paid back along with interest to those affected by the action. It is a remedial civil action and not a punitive one. In India, this was recognized by the legislature in 2013 through the insertion of an explanation to Section 11B of the SEBI Act. In the first stage, SEBI satisfies itself of the irregularity or unethical transaction through investigation. This can be initiated suo motu or upon a complaint. Once the wrongdoings are proven, the company or the individual is not entitled to any defense. Also, there is no specified period during which the proceedings are to be initiated by the regulator. There is no universal method that is used to arrive at a penalty figure. This is mainly because there cannot be an exact determination of the actual gains made by the wrongdoer. However, it cannot exceed the total profits realized as a result of the unlawful activity. The onus to arrive at a reasonable figure lies with SEBI. If the disgorgement penalty is not paid, the regulator may levy an additional penalty or attach and sell its properties to realize the amount. The money is credited to the Investor Protection and Education Fund, IPEF. In the alleged co-location scam, SAT has also set aside the SEBI's order to disgorge 25% of the salary from NSE executives Ravi Narayan and Chitra Ramakrishna. The tribunal said that salary is given to a person as a remuneration for the work that he does in an organization and is not a profit, nor can it be termed as an unfair gain.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
According to reports, SEBI is now mulling approaching the Supreme Court against the SAT order. That's all for today. For more news and analysis, please log on to business-standard.com. Thank you for watching.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.